welcome to my little corner. In this video, as you know by the title, we're going to talk about Ali Hazelwood's books. So I read all of her books so far. There's going to be more. I want to talk about them. So first we have The Love Hypothesis, which was 2021's book talk sensation. Then we have Love on the Brain, which is the new one, 2022. And she also has 3 novellas that she also released this year, 2022. And they are Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero. These 3 novellas are like 100-page books, and they're actually gonna be released next year as one book. And the book is gonna be called Loath to Love You, the Steminist Novellas. Also, this girl isn't stopping. Next year, not only she will release the novellas that I guess she already wrote, so it doesn't count, but she has 2 other books that are coming up. I also want to preface the whole review by saying that all of the books are about women in STEM. So let's get right into it, and I want to start by talking about The Love Hypothesis. So The Love Hypothesis is the perfect rom-com. So here's a quick plot of the book. So Olive's best friend, Anne, falls in love with Olive's ex, and she won't date him because of girl code, and she won't believe Olive that it's okay for her to date him. So Olive's brilliant plan is to date someone new, to show her best friend that she's over her ex, Jeremy, and then it's okay for Anne to go after him. But one day Anne shows up at Olive's work, and Olive panics and kisses the first guy she sees. And who is it but none other than Adam, a well-known asshole professor. For some reason, he agrees to go with the whole fake dating thing with Olive, and then we just embark on this fake dating relationship journey, which ends up being really fun, very funny, lots of banter. So Adam has that reputation because he's very good at his job, he takes his job seriously, and he gives real unbiased feedback to other people's work. But sometimes that's not what people want to hear, so they take him as he's really mean. Like, he's got no people skills. He doesn't like butter people up before completely destroying their work. But anyway, when he's with Olive, he's actually so caring and so sweet and so soft. He's just not that mean person that people make him out to be when he's with Olive. And Olive is just your quirky, fun girl. You know, she gets herself into these ridiculous situations, and she's like a woman in STEM, and she's surrounded by men who think they're better and smarter than women. But I really could not put this book down. It was so fun. It's very easy to read, and it kind of checks all of your typical rom-com tropes. Unrealistic situations, check. Broody guy that lights up to the one girl, check. Massive miscommunication, check. Fun, wholesome banter, check. Steamy, sharing one bed scene, check. Highly predictable ending, check. And of course we love it when the male character supports his woman 100%, no matter what. I also really love that at the beginning of every chapter, there was Olive had an hypothesis, and those were so funny. Like, some were so funny, I was actually laughing out loud. So for me, The Love Hypothesis is 5 stars. Loved it. Also, what is your take on pumpkin spice? I had it for the first time in like 2 years ago, and I love it. Next up, I want to talk about Love on the Brain. I guess I want to preface this just by saying that I loved it so much. Maybe even more than The Love Hypothesis, maybe, I don't know. So a quick plot summary for this book. We have B, the girl with the pink hair. She is a neuroengineer. She loves Marie Curie. She lives her life through the lenses of what would Marie Curie do. She even has a Twitter account for it. And she gets a job offer to go work at NASA to work on a helmet prototype thing that deals with your brain and neurons. It's a science thing. I have no idea anymore what it was. Anyways, when she gets to work on her first day, her equipment that she needs to do her job, aka like computers and stuff, are not there. Days pass, even weeks, and the equipment doesn't arrive. So she got hired to do a job. They don't give her the equipment to do a job. And she's just there like, why aren't you giving me the equipment? Like, she even has deadlines that she's not able to meet because of it. So basically the book is about how B got this job, and because of sexism, a woman in STEM, she was not allowed to do her job that she was hired to do. But of course we have the male character Levi, who is there and is trying to support her as best as he can, trying to do everything in his power to help her, even though it doesn't really look like it at first. And there's a quote that I really like that I want to say. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a community of women trying to mind their own business must be in want of a random man's opinion. I loved Levi's and B's interactions, but the miscommunication slash misunderstanding trope is so heavy. Like, if only these two brilliant doctors slash scientists would communicate instead of assuming, so much could be avoided. But anyway, I love Levi to pieces. He's your typical broad shoulders guy, accomplished scientist, and oh, he's such a sweetie pie. He loves with such a passion that really long DM sent me. Like, I was not okay after I read that perfect love letter of a DM. I was not okay. It was so beautiful. And B is your quirky, brilliant neuroscientist, and she has pink hair and piercings and an enormous inability to see the obvious. It's incredible how Ali writes these brilliant women with PhDs, but they are so clueless at times. Also, Love on the Brain is a lot sexier than The Love Hypothesis, so be prepared for that. And there's actually an action scene at the end that was so unexpected, but I was there for the journey. It was fun. Some people hated it. I think it came out of nowhere, yes, but I think it was still fun and I enjoyed the ride. So all in all, Love on the Brain, another 5 stars for me. So now let's get into the novellas, shall we? So there's 3 novellas. They're like 100-page books, and because they're so short, they can feel very rushed. She's basically trying to take these full books and putting her formula, narrowing it down to 100 pages. And it feels rushed, and sometimes it doesn't work. And we're gonna talk about it. I also want to preface by saying that all of the novellas are like kind of similar. They're like enemies to lovers. And it seems like Ali is only able to write one type of guy. I might think, and a lot of people think, that they might all be the same guy. I don't know. But let's get started with novella number 1, and that's called Under One Roof. So this one is forced proximity and also enemies to lovers. So if you have read Ali's books, you might have gotten by now that Ali's formula is very obvious. It's like big massive dude plus small quirky STEM girl, and they hate each other for no reason. So the plot of this one is kind of fuzzy. As I was reading it, it was fuzzy, and now it's even fuzzier. Okay, what I got from it was that Mara's co-worker and mentor dies and leaves Mara a house, which is already questionable. But anyway, when she gets there, turns out that she was actually left half a house because in it lives Liam, who I guess owns the other half of the house, and then they are forced to live together. You know, I guess that's the plot. I guess it is what it is. And it's also enemies to lovers, although that part is also fuzzy. Like, I don't know what's up with these enemies to lovers books, but it's always the female character who makes some kind of dumb assumption based on some misunderstanding, and then she just hates the male character. She's just, instead of talking about it, no, assuming something and just going for it forever. It's like so dumb. In this case, I think she hates him because she's an environmental scientist and he works for a big oil company, so I guess immediately hate him. So Mara, once again, is your quirky STEM girl. Though in this one, we don't really see her at work at all. So her job is completely irrelevant. And Liam is the most forgettable character. The only thing I remember about him is that he is massive, oh so tall, because we're constantly reminded of it. It's like, in fact, I think it makes up like half of the book. Also, the book starts with the end, like spoiler alert, but okay. It's not like we didn't know how it was gonna end, but it kind of robbed us of that moment still. We do get some moments, some fun, cute interactions. The first half of them with Liam's non-existing personality, but eventually we do get some fun moments, mostly of them watching The Bachelorette. And there's a lot of time jumps, you know, because it started with the end, then it tries to tell us that the story of how they got there, but it keeps jumping a lot. I just wish we could have seen their story, but it's so rushed. So in the end, Under One Roof gets 3 fuzzy stars from me, maybe 2.5. On to novella number 2, and that is Stuck With You. And you guessed it, forced proximity again. So the plot for this one, Sadie gets stuck in an elevator with Eric, a guy who I guess they have a history, and the man who allegedly broke her heart. So now they're gonna have to talk about it, I guess. That is the plot. That is the plot for the second book. So this book also does time jumps, but it goes from the present to the past. So it shows them in the present getting stuck. Then it goes in the past to show us what happened, their history, and then back to the present to update us on what's happening at the elevator, and back to the past. So when you think that Ali's fetish for massive dudes was too much, well, get ready, because you're in for a ride. Better yet, make it a drinking game, and every time the male character's massiveness is mentioned, take a shot. You'll be drunk by the second chapter. It was driving me mad. I could not stand it for one more second to have another mention of it. It was so excessive. Like, she needs an intervention. So Alice is not gonna watch my video, but if she did, I wish this video could be her intervention because she needs it. Please stop it. I was actually trying to count how many times it was said, and because I was in a Kindle, even though I don't like reading on a Kindle, it actually has a feature that I love, which is you get to highlight, and then you get to see all of the things you highlighted super quickly and easily. So here's what we know about Eric, and also let's call it a dramatic reading of all the parts I highlighted until I gave up because there were so many mentions of his massiveness. Here we go. Massive. With his massive colossal presence. Tall man, broad shoulders, wears suit, boring. A very, very large hand. Broad shoulders and light hair. He's taller than I calculated. He is as big as a yeti with clear blue eyes and short pale blonde hair. The strong jaw, the deep set eyes, the way the angular parts of his face come together into something very, very handsome. He moves way quicker than anyone his size should be able to. He's as towering as a Greenlandic mountain range. I remain vaguely intimidated by his size. His hand swallows my fingers. He's big enough, I guess. For all that, he's a blonde, steely mountain of muscles. And with the sleeves of his button-down rolled up to his forearms, which look strong and oddly male, he picks up the croissant in his huge hands and takes a bite. Eric is a mountain. Those were just some of the mentions that I highlighted. There were more. I gave up at some point. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, that is all that we know about Eric. He's big and he's blonde. He's got blue eyes. That's it. What is his personality? We don't know. Who cares about personality, really? That aside, the plot was actually okay, even pretty good. It had some unforgettable 24 hours together, followed by a big misunderstanding, obviously. And now they're stuck in an elevator, so they have to fix it, I guess. I actually give this novella 4 stars. I was getting so pissed off at the massive synonyms that I was about to throw the book across the room. But I was nice and I tried to put that aside, so I give it 4 stars. And lastly, the last novella, novella number 3, is called Below Zero. And actually, for me, this one was actually a lot better than the first 2. Like, this one actually has a much better plot. The massive, oh so tall comments are kept to a minimum compared to the other 2. They're still there. It's still the same guy. But compared, they were kept to a minimum. And we actually gave more plot. So, thank God. So the plot for this one, we have Hannah and Ian. I don't remember if they both work at NASA or just Ian at this point. But Hannah is kind of obsessed with Mars and the Mars rover. So she interviews Ian, who was part of the team with the Mars rover, and she does an interview for like a school assignment. They end up chatting the night away. It is very cute, very nerdy, but it gets steamy and hot very quickly. But Hannah is emotionally unavailable. She's not up for dating. And I guess Ian wants a relationship, so that doesn't really work out. But then sometime later, I don't know how long, Hannah actually gets a job at NASA, and her project proposal gets shut down for funding. Why? Because Ian is in charge of approving the project, and he did not approve it because it's very dangerous, because it requires her to go to the Arctic to do some testing, and it can get very dangerous. And I think from personal experience, that's why he's denying the project, trying to protect her. But anyway, Hannah obviously hates him, because why are you denying my project? What's wrong with you? So anyway, she ends up going and doing her project anyway because someone else is funding it, and she goes to the Arctic, and guess what? She gets into a dangerous situation, so she ends up getting stuck and injured, and there's a snowstorm coming, and who comes to the rescue? None other than your boy Ian. But yeah, I just really liked how this one actually had some plot, and they were so cute. The male character, even though he's big and all, he's actually cute and nerdy. You know, I actually really liked him. And the last thing I want to mention is that actually all these 3 novellas, the main characters, Mara, Sadie, and Hannah, they're actually friends. You know, sometimes they are talking to each other, and I guess maybe that's in the plot summary of the book, but only at some point I realized, hey, aren't these the girls from the other books? And then I checked, and yeah, they're all friends. Kind of ties it all together. I appreciated that. But I also thought it was really funny how these 3 women in STEM, they're all friends, but they kind of fell for the same guy, and they have very similar love stories. They're all dating these giant, massive dudes with no personality. Maybe save it for Ian. He's better than the rest. But yeah, these are tiny women dating massive dudes, and you know, I thought that was really funny. You're kind of dating the same guy. So I actually gave this one 5 stars. You know, I was glad that this one had plot. The guy had some personality, you know, so yeah. So in conclusion, The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain were amazing. 5 stars for me. Super fun, quick reads, fun banter. I love them. But the novellas were pretty much a hit or miss. I'm very excited for the 2 new books that are coming out next year, and I'm glad that they're full books and not novellas. So this is it. What did you think of Ali's books? Have you read all of them? Have you read the novellas? What did you think of them? Please let me know in the comments down below what you thought of any of these books. And yeah, this is it for me. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.